She laughed one evening, tossing her hair back as if it were the funniest thing in the world, and said it, casually, almost teasingly, but with a sharp edge that cut deeper than she realized. "You're so boring," she said, her eyes sparkling with amusement, like she'd just uncovered some great secret about me. I smiled. I didn't respond right away. I let the words settle, not because I agreed, but because I wanted her to truly understand the weight they carried. For years, I had been patient, steady, predictable. I followed routines, cherished stability, and avoided unnecessary drama. I thought these were virtues, the backbone of a calm life. But apparently, in her eyes, they were chains. That night, after she went to bed laughing softly at some imaginary joke, I began plotting something she would never see coming. The next morning, I didn't change outwardly. I went to work, came home at the same time, and pretended that nothing had happened. But inside, a quiet storm was brewing. I decided to embrace the label she had thrown at me, boring, and take it to a place she could never anticipate. I wanted her to see what boring could truly do when it was deliberate, when it was wielded like a weapon. I started small. The texts stopped. No more little reminders that I was thinking of her, no more sweet messages scattered throughout her day. When she asked about my day, I answered in clipped, minimal sentences, monotone, almost mechanical. She frowned. She tried to engage me in conversation, tried to pull the spark back into the dull rhythm she had once mocked, but I remained steady, unshaken, deliberately mundane. At dinner, I refrained from my usual small gestures, the napkin folded just so, the plate placed perfectly, the gentle compliments. I let the food sit there, untouched at first, letting the silence stretch long and uncomfortable. I watched as she glanced around, searching for the familiar warmth that had always defined our evenings. And when she finally asked if something was wrong, I shrugged, perfectly calm. "No, everything's fine," I said, letting the words hang in the air. Days passed, and I leaned further into my boring persona. The weekends that once carried little adventures, trips to the park, spontaneous drives, trying new restaurants, were replaced with quiet solitude. I read books in silence, took long walks alone, and ignored her subtle attempts to draw me into conversation. She began to notice the absence of my attention, the absence of the little excitement that had always been there. I could see it in her eyes, the frustration, the confusion, the flicker of panic that something was off. She began asking herself questions, trying to figure out where the warmth had gone, why the spark she had dismissed as dull had vanished. She called me by my name differently now, as if trying to coax the man she had labeled boring back to life. But I didn't flinch. I had to let her feel the full weight of what her words could do. One evening, she confronted me, exasperated. "What's wrong with you? You've become empty. Where's the man I knew?" I leaned back, calm as ever, meeting her gaze without a word for a long moment. Then I spoke softly, deliberately, letting the silence carry as much power as the words. "You called me boring," I said. "I decided to show you what boring really is." Her face shifted through a spectrum of emotions: shock, guilt, anger, disbelief. I continued to meet her eyes, steady, unwavering, as if I had been asleep all along and had just woken to see the world clearly. She realized, in that suspended silence, that her words had consequences, that the man she thought she knew had a depth she had underestimated. The transformation wasn't about cruelty, it was about clarity. I wasn't trying to punish her, not exactly. I was revealing the truth, that beneath the calm, predictable exterior lay a storm she had ignored, a power of patience, observation, and precision that could reshape the dynamic of our lives. My boring was not weakness, it was strength, hidden until provoked. Over the following days, she approached me differently. The teasing vanished, replaced by cautious curiosity. She asked questions, truly listened to my answers, and noticed the subtleties she had once dismissed. Slowly, she began to appreciate the quiet force that had always been there, the steady presence that had been the anchor of our life together. In the end, she didn't apologize in grand gestures. Instead, she learned to respect what she had mocked, to value the depth behind my silence, the power behind my composure. And I, in turn, understood that sometimes, letting someone see the full weight of their words could teach a lesson no argument ever could. Boring, as it turned out, was never the absence of life or excitement, it was the quiet patience to let the world reveal itself, the strength to hold steady when provoked, and the power to show someone, without fury or rage, that even the calmest waters can run deep. And she learned that lesson the moment she called me what I wasn't, and I let her see what I truly could be. Did this story touch your heart? Tell me in the comments where you're watching from, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so more hearts can feel these stories too.